out here in the Montana garage, and today's task, exhaust system on the 55 Chevy. When I drove this thing last summer, I had just open headers for a while, and then once I started driving it a little bit more, that really wasn't panning out. So I threw my old exhaust system, what I could of it, on there, which that just is some header mounted glass packs. And I did have exhaust out behind the rear tire. I think it snuck out right behind the rear tire right there before. But with the new rear end and moving the suspension, the old exhaust tubes, they wouldn't fit through there like they used to do. So I just hacked them off a little in front of the rear end. So now it just has glass packs, and the exhaust pipe ends, right under the back seat, and I'm getting like an exhaust smell inside of the car. So that was just supposed to be temporary, and so we're gonna try to do something about that temporary and make something a little more permanent today. My experience with exhaust systems is zero, so I have done none other than, cobbling what I did. All I did is bolt the mufflers on, so that doesn't count for anything. But I got a bunch of pieces and parts, and I got a welder, and I got a grinder, and I have an idea kind of what I want to do. So let's start by showing you all the stuff I have and kind of what our plan is, and then we'll figure out how to move forward. Deal? All right, here's the pieces I got. Oh, look at that shiny bumper. Sorry, easily distracted by shiny things. Here's the pieces we got for the exhaust system. We're going to put some cutouts on it. I just got the manual ones, not the fancy kind you push a button, but you crawl underneath and take the plate off, and boom, she's loud. Not only for sound, to make it loud, but mostly for me, for like, this is drag and drive, so when I'm dragging, I'll take them off. When I'm driving, I'll put them on. You know the deal. So originally the theory was these come with an extra flange, so you can weld that bad boy on there, and then you just bolt this right to your header. You don't need like a header reducer thing. Well, I'm using a 2.5-inch exhaust system, so I just bought 2.5-inch of these, and turns out these flanges aren't the same as the current header flange I have. A little small. So this, I believe the headers have a 3-inch flange, and this is a 2.5-inch dealio. So then what I had to do is figure out how to make these work with the header. So options were to get a bigger one of these, get these in 3-inch, and then they would bolt to the header, and then I'd have to neck down to the exhaust, or find a way to mount these on the headers. So I bought a 3-inch collector reducer, I think it's called. I don't know. Anyways, this will bolt to the header. So the flange is the right size for the flange I already have on the header, and then that guy will weld to this guy. Well, bam. So then we'll have our cutouts taken care of. I got some various hangers. Like I said, I've never done exhaust work before, so I just kind of picked a couple, and I don't know if they're gonna work or if we'll make them work. We'll have to get something else. I have this little guy here, clamps the stuff together. So you can get them clamped tight, and then you tack it together, so you can get some nice butt welds. What I didn't get yet is I didn't get any clamps. I will have to clamp a little bit of it together. I'll probably clamp the mufflers in, and then maybe towards the back I might clamp a piece together instead of weld it all together, so you can just get it in and out easier. I bought random kit of just a universal kit, a 2.5-inch aluminized exhaust. I was gonna get stainless steel because it lasts longer, looks prettier, but you need special welding wire and special gas or TIG weld. I don't have any of that crap, so we went with just the old aluminized steel. It's not supposed to last as long, rust out sooner, but let's be honest, the old baremetal 55, she's not gonna see a lot of bad weather, and she's gonna be stored inside, and this stuff will probably last longer than I'm gonna be around. And then we went with Summit Racing turbo mufflers. Now I chose those because I saw them on Roadkill Garage with David Freiberger. He's putting exhaust on his crop duster. He did a test on the Engine Master show, I guess, where these, robbed the least amount of horsepower for a turbo style muffler or any muffler. I don't know. You'd have to check it out at Engine Masters. I didn't watch the Engine Master show, but just that's what he said in the Roadkill show. So, and they were still pretty loud. And the reason he thought they were loud and stole the least amount of power probably was because you can see right through them. And I first bought these, and I remember him saying that in the show, and I looked through and I was like, well, you can't see through these. I must have bought the wrong ones. But then you flip it around this side. Thing's kind of heavy actually. And you look through there, you can see a little bit of light if I can get the camera just right. You can see a little bit of light. So the exhaust has like a direct path. So they're still supposed to be fairly rowdy. One of the reviews said, it sounded like his glass packed car back in high school, and the guy liked that. And I like that. That's what I'm going for. The other review said, it looked like it was welded by a 16-year-old kid on his first day at the welding job. And I would agree with that. So they're not the prettiest or best looking piece, but hopefully they will sound good and last long enough. If not, they were cheap and we can get something else. That's the pieces and parts. Let's crawl underneath and see where we're starting from. Kind of talk about what we're gonna try to accomplish. I tell you, I spend more time looking for my special little light than I do working on my car. I need the special little light goes here spot. Actually, I have one of those. I keep forgetting to put it there. Here, Mr. Light. Here, Mr. Light. Seriously, I just had it. Finally found it. I'm going to put this thing, every time I'm done using this, I'm going to put it right here. All right? Deal? So whenever I'm looking for my light, you just tell me it'll be right there. there's no chance that's gonna work. All right, let's take a peek at what we're starting with here. Well, I already started, as you can see. I got the one exhaust. I took this down to make sure my new collector things I bought were the right size, and they are. We got headers, and then, like I said, this is just the old exhaust that used to be on the car. I threw some old hangers on it, and then it just stops like right there because the other pipe wouldn't snake up over the rear end with all the changes back there. We got to get this out of the way, obviously, and then, like I said, we're gonna go with collector and then a cutout. I'm a little worried about the cutouts. We'll have to get started here, and I apologize because this is my lift. This is as high as we get, and it's gonna be hard to film this stuff under the car. The cutout is gonna be right here, and it kind of wants to come out like right by the edge of the exhaust here. I guess I should just wait and show you, but I'm worried that it's gonna be too low, and then I may have to have the cutout be on the inside, which is not ideal, and I don't want to do that. But you know, my headers were already the lowest part, and you can see I had to cut this ear off because it was hitting when I was pulling out of my driveway. So I don't want to be any lower than this if I can avoid it. So anyways, we have to figure out how to snake this up. And in a perfect world, which I know I don't live in, I would love for the exhaust to go up over the axle. So the first thing I want to do is weld my collector reducer, whatever it's called, to my cutout. Wham bam. Now, according to Freiberger from his what he said he found out on his Engine Master show is these cutouts do work. They do help you make more power, but they need to be as close to the header as possible. It's probably not going to make much difference, but I want to shorten this up and just get it a little bit closer. And I don't know, just because, I guess. I don't need it to be that far back. So I'm going to shorten it up. I already shortened one up, so this is what we got to make this piece look like this piece. Now, I said I'm going to try to butt weld this stuff. So I would like to get a nice cut when I'm cutting these things shorter, whenever I'm cutting on the exhaust. Trying to get a nice square cut on round stuff is not super easy. You can't just mark it and willy-nilly cut it. So how do you figure that out? Well, here's how I learned to do that. And I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't remember where I saw this. Somebody's YouTube video. I apologize because I don't know. It was a long time ago. I was just watching random YouTubes. I learned it from somebody. I can't give him credit because I don't remember. So I got my mark here where I want to cut this thing. And like I said, just take the death wheel and cut it and try to stay in a straight line. It's going to be a little tough. You can't really use a square. I mean, it's kind of hard to do, but this guy, wherever I saw it, this person showed me, or showed everybody, and I saw it, you take a strip of paper or something. This is like a piece of manila folder I cut to 2 inches wide. And if you put it on your mark and wrap it around there, and if you have it like that, it's not going to be square, but if you get if your paper's square and the cut's straight, and then you line that all up, that should give you a pretty straight cut or mark around the tube. So where'd my mark go? We got to go a little lower apparently. There's my mark. Put there, get all this stuff all lined up where it overlaps and everything is copacetic. Pretty close to my mark. So that should be a pretty straight or square cut around the tube. So I'm going to mark that. And that's where we'll cut it. Safety first. See how we did. She's a little warm yet. Pretty darn good. Maybe not perfect, but pretty good. This tube feels a little bigger than that one, but close enough we can make that all work together, I'm sure. All right, what's next? Took the sander, grinder to both ends of these, get a little bit of this black paint off of here. Got my little sleeve on here to line this up, then I'll throw some tacks on there. Don't forget to put your flange on there because ain't no putting it on there once this is welded together, obviously. So, see if we can't throw a couple tacks on here. All right, I'll take this band off of here. Maybe throw a couple more tacks on this side. I'm not gonna weld it all solid yet. I'm gonna just tack everything together, obviously, until I have it all kind of pieced together. So we'll do that, and then we'll crawl back under the car and see how we can make this line up with not being too low and all that good stuff. Well, strike one. The first thing I did is I welded this to the wrong side. So Yeah, that wasn't good. That's why you only tack stuff first. I had the cutout facing back to the front. I would assume you want that facing to the back. It really doesn't fit very good either way, but I think we'll put her in the back. So I had to cut it apart. We'll tack it back together. Because we're going this way, my fancy little band won't fit on there, so we gotta just hold it in place and buzz a couple little tacks on there. Now we'll go see how it fits. And here's a view from back under the car. Header collector I just tacked on, and then this is of course the cutout. So this is what I mean where it hits the frame or interferes with the frame right here, and I don't really want to be any lower than I already am, so I'm a little too low. This might actually be high enough because we're a little further back. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and then I'll take the car back down off the ramps and get it on the ground so I can just gotta get a visual. Because right now we're sitting higher in the back, and it was just barely low right there, so that might work. And the other option is, I guess it's not that big of a deal if we just run these, spin that, and run the cutouts to the inside. Okay, back under the car. Here's where we're at so far. Header, cutout. So for now, I got the cutout facing out. I think what's going to end up happening, I was going to run a little pipe and then the muffler's back a little further, but then the muffler gets close to the fuel pump and the fuel filter. And like I said, I got this gear vendor thing coming, and the cross member is going to change, so I think it's going to be best to put the muffler right here. So I'm not too worried about this because the muffler is going to be clamped in, so if this is too low I can rotate it the other way. So for now we got cutout, then a muffler, straight piece of pipe. I don't want to end it right there with some turn downs. If I can't figure out how to get it through there, that's what we can do. But so now I gotta grab all my go through my exhaust kit I have and try to figure out how to piece something up and over the rear end there. So all right, I think what we're gonna do is use two of these. I think this will get me up over the axle. If I keep this one loose to clamp, that gives me the ability to rotate a little bit too. So I just need to figure out, so I need to cut these two, or cut one of these and weld these together, I think. And it's kind of hard to figure out exactly where I want to do that, but we'll ballpark it and cross your fingers. So if I go too far, then that gets into the floor. Somehow I got to try to figure out. It's going to be over to the left a little bit, but I can spin it, go back a little bit more, and I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to say like right in there is where I want to cut this pipe. I don't even know what you guys are looking at, and weld these two together. So I have to cut that, and then I'll have to come back down here and figure out the orientation of it, everything, to be able to sneak through there. It's hard to tell exactly because I can't get, I need to be over here, but then down. Obviously, if I'm here, you just can't get in the exact right spot. But hopefully that can ballpark us to be over there further, but I can tilt it back this way if I need to. I don't know. We're gonna cut that right there and see what we can turn that into. Probably a piece of wasted exhaust pipe, but we'll get some experience along the way too. All right, back under the car to see if we can figure out how to line this bad boy up and see if it's gonna work. All right, I'm back. I've been struggling with figuring out how to make this work, and then right in the light. I am also easily distracted by playoff hockey. Avs lost game 1. Boo-hoo. All right, they got 6 more chances to win, 4 more, I guess. So I took a little break, went in and had some dinner and watched the game. Now I'm back out, and I knew that trying to figure out how to get all this up through here was gonna be a bit of a challenge. And I have a plan, I think, but I don't know if I like it or not. So what do you guys think? I mean, I don't like coming through where the leaf spring is here, but if I stay close to the tire, then I don't think, the leaf spring is gonna travel that much. I don't know, it's either this, or I had a way where I could come out straight back here, but I'm gonna have a receiver hitch on here, and then the exhaust is gonna have to be way the heck down here, or I gotta try to get around it and then back out. So I don't know what to do. And then also, once this was the easy side, because then when you look at this other side, the tank is right next to the frame. Like right here, I got all this space, and over here, that space doesn't exist. I guess what I need to do now is kind of stop where I'm at over here, and then get caught up on this side, so I can figure out how it's gonna come through here, and if I can't get it through here, then maybe it's just gonna dump right here or something. So let's go weld that other collector together, and we'll kind of mimic what we got here over to this side, and then we'll struggle with trying to decide what we're doing back here. Well, we got the other side back to our tube here, back to the big piece like I did this side. So I'm going to try to kind of, let's see, that side I clamped together. I don't have another one of those clamps. So that's going to go something like yay. I'm going to try to clamp this together. All right, I just spent forever looking for these clamps, And then I finally remembered I had them down in the basement from installing cabinets. That's what you get for not putting your stuff away. I wasn't really done with them down there. That's why I left them down there. I got a good excuse anyways. I don't know if this is gonna work anyhow, but I thought it might, right? Maybe, maybe not. Kind of. Give me an idea, maybe. All right, from there I need a 90, right? And that's what I did over here. See if this will somehow work on this side. Okay, then we got that. What the heck are we gonna do from there? I need a couple more of the 45s or shallow ones. Kind of like that right there, but I don't know what to do after. So in theory, after that, let's see. 1, 2, I should have 4 of them. I should have one more somewhere. Right there, go right beside. Not like that. Change the angle a bit, but might work. All right, I have a theory. I don't know if it's a very good one. All right, I jumped ahead. I haven't been filming much, but after much head scratching and, you know, putting puzzle pieces together and taking them apart and trying a million different things, I had this side, the passenger side, and I think I showed you guys I was gonna bring it out through this, right through the leaf spring here, and then pop out like so under behind the rear tire. It's just different on the driver's side because the gas tank is not centered. They make a kit to center your gas tank, and now I know why, because then there would be room for exhaust over there probably. So I didn't do that. So now I'm fighting with the exhaust, but I think I made it work. I just had to go with plan B or C or Z or whichever one I was on before the time I got there. So instead of going out behind the tire, I'm coming out the back. Now, like I said, I think I'm gonna put a receiver hitch here. So I don't want it that low. So if I do the receiver hitch, then I might just stop it and turn it down behind the receiver hitch, or maybe I'll try to do a 90 and come out over there. But for now, I'm just doing this because that's the only thing I can make work on this side is to come up through the axle. And I know it's hard to see anything, but you know, we got a straight shot from the muffler. Kind of got to go up over the axle, around the shock, around, down between the tire and the tank, and then it's kind of a straight shot out the back. That's what we got going on. And I played with the puzzle pieces and I can make pretty much the same thing work on this side. It'll come out just inside this leaf spring and stop right there. So I just have it clamped up. I don't have an end on it because like I said, it's probably, this termination point's probably gonna change either to just, it's gonna stop behind the receiver hitch and turn down or turn out. It gets a little close to a few things. So hopefully once I get it, you know, once I use these hangers, figure out where to put those, we can get it pretty sturdy and steady and it's not gonna be rattling. And I don't know, I may have to start all over and change it and do something different if this doesn't work, but this was, this is what I came up with. I wanted to weld them all together. You can see I got spot welds here, but I had to clamp this one and clamp on this one. I planned on clamping this one, but then if I weld this together, I'm not going to be able to fish that up in there, I don't think. I could barely get it in there without having this long tailpipe on it. So I think with that tailpipe on there, I wouldn't be able to get it up in there. So we'll probably just leave a clamp there and a clamp there. And then of course the mufflers are clamped, so you can change them or I can change them if I have to. And the rest will all be welded. We'll move on to the other side and try to make it match before we weld anything solid. I think the other side's gonna have to wait for tomorrow though. It's getting pretty late. I shouldn't have snuck out of here to go watch a hockey game, but I did. I actually got further along than I thought I was gonna. There is just a ton of head scratching on this, saying, like I said, I've never done it before. I don't know what the heck the guy can use these pieces for. I guess a guy should be able to be smart enough to, you know, pie cut them a little bit so it can just change your angle. I was trying to think about how to do that wrapping around this tire situation. And I just couldn't wrap my head around how to make these cuts work, but I don't know what else you would use like this U-turn, this 184, but I don't know, I guess there's uses for it. I got 4 of those that I'm not gonna be able to use. Anywho, like I said, we'll be back tomorrow to hopefully wrap this up. All right, it is the next day. I am back out in the shop and back under the car. Since I kind of skipped ahead and didn't really show you too much on the other side, I'll try to show you my thought process or my little, how I'm figuring this out on this side. So I'm trying to kind of match what I did on the other side. I pieced this side together first, then I made that side work. Now I got to put this side back together and make it work. It's kind of dark and hard to show you on here, but I'll do the best I can. So bear with me. Ow, I just hit my head. That's number 1. We'll keep track of that maybe. Got my little clamp here because I got to clamp this guy back together. So the first thing I do is that we got our exhaust pipe coming out of the muffler and then up right yonder. And then I got to 45-ish. I don't know, that's not really a 45, whatever that shallow bend guy is, and it's going, then it's got a 90. So that's gonna go up over the rear end right beside the old shock. Ooh, what was that? I don't know what that sound was. Scared me though. Sound like an electrical pop. I don't think there's anything down here that I could have touched. Hopefully it was just, oh, I think it was the flashlight falling over. Much less scary than starting the car on fire. So, clamping this guy together. I wonder if I got any tools down here anymore. I'm laying on something. There we go. Ding, fries are done. All right, so what do we got going on? We're coming up over that guy, and then we're shooting out over here. Maybe I need to spin that just a hair. All right, so once we get this where we want it, that'll be welded. This one, as you can see on this side, if you can see anything, I just put a clamp on that, because like I said before, I want to be able to get, if I need to be able to move this stuff or get it in and out, I can't weld it all together. So what I had to do on this side is, because maybe I should have left this pipe a little bit long. You know, this is inside this slip fit thing that far. On the other side, I kind of snuck it out an inch or so, or maybe not that far, a little bit, just because it gives me a little more clearance over the rear end. So I think I'll do the same thing over here. So let me put you guys down, looking right into the light, probably. I need a pillow. Let's see, I don't really, it doesn't really have to match the other side exactly, but I just want to make sure I got enough clearance on everything. Actually, you know what, if I turn that way, which is how we are on the other side, we got plenty of clearance. I don't think I need to hold that back. So I'm just going to mark it at full depth, and I'm not going to mark angle just yet. So what do I have coming off of that? Then I have another 90, I think. We're going to turn the corner the other way. Well, bam. This one I'm going to end up welding, or I did on the other side. Then it comes down here somewhere, and then I put this guy in here. I'm going to sneak that way, just about the height of the, let's see, if I go too high, then I'm going to hit the frame. I don't know what you guys are looking at. You can't see nothing up here anyways. So I'm trying to figure out how to keep this away from the tire, this away from the frame, and this away from the leaf spring. So I actually kind of need to, so on this side I end up coming out, cut this off just right there. For some reason I am like right on the frame. Oh man, I am like pretty close to the frame over here too. I never noticed that. But I'm not on it. Pretty close to the shock. Well, hopefully, once I get it all mounted in place, it ain't gonna move around too much, because I'm also really close to the gas tank. But I think I need to come down a little bit. So to come down a little bit, rather than, I was talking about putting that out, I need to shorten that one a little bit, I think. So I want to get away from the, I don't know, once I get right there. I mean, this one I got all kinds of room, so there's no need to be, I want it to come out kind of the same as the other one, which is right beside the leaf spring. It's right beside the leaf spring, but this one is welded. Ah, crash. Crash. You guys looking at this at all? All right, this one is welded, and I think I want to, I can move, if I move everything, the whole works can go in just a hair. All right, so now you know why I didn't really show you guys all this. It's a lot of me just sitting here trying to think about what to do. But this is the general thing that I got going on, and you guys are upside down and you can't tell what's going on, but we're close. So I have to figure out, see, this one's gonna get clamped together. So I'll probably grab a clamp and kind of get that how I want it and clamp it, and then I can mark these other two. Let's see, this one's gonna get clamped also, right? Yeah, this one also is clamped. But I gotta figure this one out, mark it, and cut it. So I'll be back when we're ready to figure that out. All right, I'm back and I have it kind of how I want it. What I need to do is I'm gonna weld this joint together, right? Yeah, that's what I did on the other side. So I have everything kind of held how I want it, where I'm gonna come almost even, I think, as I am on this side. So I'm just gonna put a mark across there and there. So that line goes to that point. And then what I have to do means I'm going to weld this together as I'm cutting off this flared end. And what I did on the other side is I went about a 1/2 inch past the end of the flare, and that will help me because it'll scoot me a little bit away from the tire. Okay, so I'm going to cut that off about a 1/2 inch past there. gonna mark this one, the depth, so this one gets clamped together, but I'm just gonna mark a line here so I know where I want to clamp it, in what orientation or whatnot. All right, so I can take this back apart, I can cut this, and then I'm also gonna cut this guy over here. I'm gonna weld this point, or this seam together, so I'm gonna cut off this flared part about a 1/2 inch past there as well. So, all right, we'll go do some cutting and we'll be back. All right, I guess we got to mark these pipes before we can cut them, and there's probably a better way to do this. I'm not real scientific about it. I'm just going to draw this line straight back because I'm going to cut this off. So this mark in orientation has to stay the same back to where I'm going to cut it off. So that's going to be my new mark. That mark can stay the same because then that's going to get welded to there. Or no, that one can't. That one's got to get marked forward too, right? So we're going to... So there's our line showing our orientation. And now we need to try to make our nice square cut around the pipe. I guess I should probably just clamp these together. I don't know what difference it makes, but I like welding. I like making extra work. Benchmark Abrasives grinder shield. I'm still digging this thing. There's a link for sale on my Amazon store if you're interested in getting one. Let's see. I guess I should protect the old ears too. All right, now we still got our mark on there, luckily. So if we did this right, now we want to tack that together just like so. Line up the marks, and that should hopefully keep us pointing everything in the right direction. So I'm gonna go tack this together, and then we have one more of these ends to cut off where I'm just cutting the flare off a 1/2 inch beyond. So let me go get that stuff done, and I'll meet you back under the car to see how it all works out. All right, I probably should have checked stuff again, but I didn't. I tacked everything that I could tack. So this is our last piece, and then our exhaust pipe coming out, tailpipe coming out the back. That'll have to be cut. Once we get it in there, we can figure out where we cut it. This is the piece we kind of did together, and then I tacked the first piece onto the piece coming out of the muffler. So that's all tacked together too. So now we can try to put it all back together, and I'll grab a clamp so we can clamp that one piece that gets clamped. Actually, isn't there 2 spots that get clamped? Yeah. Both ends of this, I guess, get clamped. Both ends of this get clamped. So I'm gonna grab some clamps. Got a ratchet down here and a marker. All right, 2 clamps, 2 pieces of the clamps, 4 nuts. Now let's see. What are the odds of us getting this back together how we had it? All right, so this goes up in here. And those marks got to go together. Now this one is still loose in the muffler, so I can see that it needs to turn, but all right, then that's gonna get clamped together. What are you guys looking at? Hello. Can you see this? That's where I'm going to try to put a clamp. I got my lines that, you know, I can make line up. Got the U-bolt part, and I don't know, what's this part? This saddle part, the other part. And then we got these little parts. Oh, I'm gonna drop the other one on my face. Woo! Narrowly avoided it. Could have been catastrophic. And all I'm trying to do right now is get enough tension on it to kind of hold it in place. Oh, looks like we're losing light. You know, we'll cinch her down for reals once we know everything's good. But for now, I'd like it to, you know, get tight enough that this will stay where it's supposed to, where I want it to be. All right, so those are basically lined up. So that's kind of what I was looking for there. We're gonna miss the shock. Turn it just a little bit more. I can get my fingers between the exhaust pipe and the frame. So hopefully that's enough to be clearance. And then what am I trying to do now? Well, then the rest of it gets clamped together too. Where'd you guys go? Hey, lost you for a second. All right, so here's the last guy. And it's gonna go in here like this. Where's this little orange clamp at? I might need this guy. I don't know if this looks right. I guess we're about ready to find out how right it is or isn't. Hopefully we can turn this. something isn't exactly what I was going for. Pretty straight with leaf spring. Still got a finger's gap. Where'd you go? I knocked the other one down. Like, I got this guy in here. Not like so. Just barely missing that hanger. This one is actually right on the edge of the hanger, but a little lower. Perfect world. There. Pretty straight. Fingers gap. Missing the shock. Missing everything up here. By golly, I think that might work. Yeah, I think, well, I guess what I can do next is I'll figure out, obviously I got to cut this guy. So let's try to mimic what we got on that side and we'll make a little choppy chop. I've been laying underneath the car, just kind of fiddling with things and trying to figure out how to do the hangers. I think I came up with a little plan. So let's show you where we're at. So there's what I got for the tailpipe exit. Now, I think I said this before, if I'm doing drag and drives, I might have a trailer hitch right here, which means that is a no-go. But I think I came up with the plan. There's the maybe trailer hitch I'm going to use. It's going to need modified, but I mean, that sits down here, so then the exhaust would have to be, you know, like 4 inches lower. And I don't really like that. I'm going to make that thing bolt in. I'm not going to weld it in so that way I can get rid of it when I'm not using it. So I think I'm going to have two options, or, you know, two different exhaust exit situations. When I don't have the receiver hitch on, it's going to look like this. I might get some chrome tips or something, but this is where it'll end. And then when I put the receiver hitch on, what I think I will do means I'm going to clamp together at that piece right there. I'll get another 45 or whatever this angle is, and then another exhaust tube, and then we'll just make another piece. We'll unclamp that, we'll make this, and then wherever we need to, say right here, we'll chop it and turn it down, and then we'll just make it so that, you know, I can just swap out the tailpipe, either exit tailpipe or turn down tailpipe. Sounds like a plan. It's not that expensive, I don't think. Hopefully I can buy just a couple pieces, not buying a whole kit. But I'll figure that out. But for now, we're going to put it like this. So the next thing I've been working on is figuring out the hanger situation. And I'm not sure how many a guy needs. I don't really have a great way to get one back here. Light, maybe, yep. But what I do have is right above the axle on each side. I mount it to the body bolt or the body bushing mount. And then this is like a swingy deal. And I'll weld that to there. Now this is the part where it's coming apart, but this is going to be welded to this piece, and that when I loosen that clamp I can still pull that out of there, and then I'll make it so this whole piece will come out too. This will get welded on. You can loosen that and then it'll come free, and then we'll talk about the hangers up there. So I got a hanger there. I don't have anything back here for now. I'm going to see how sturdy that is. I can probably get something. I don't want to come too far back for the swappy thing, but if I have to, I can probably make something off of this gas tank bolt and then my battery tray bolt. So I could get more hangers. I'm gonna just try upside down, shiny. I'm gonna try to get away with just that. So I have hanger there, and then if we go to the front of the car, not the front, but the middle of the car, and we got muffler action. And in this case, I'm gonna use this clamp, this kind of hanger here that needs a clamp. So I don't know, I'm gonna have an extra clamp on. I could make the weldy one work right here too maybe, but I thought a clamp one would be better so I can be able to drop it. So there's gonna be a clamp right here and then a clamp right there to clamp the muffler on. That's my theory. So what I have to do now is take everything back apart and weld. I guess I only have two seams on each one that are getting welded because everything else is getting clamped. Or no, 3, because I got the collector dealy bobber right here, and then one in the back. So each exhaust pipe has 3 things that I need to weld around, so I need to take them out, weld them, put them back in, and then figure out the hangers. I don't know if we'll get that all done tonight or not. It's getting late already. Had to kind of work kind of late. So anyways, I'll whittle away at it. Well, I guess I just got the answer to the question, will I get this done tonight? No, I won't, because I was doing some welding practice, because I always like to practice and then I get carried away, and I don't know, I just wish I could make the beads, you know, not stack up so much. So I try more heat and less, I don't know. I guess that's just what they look like when it's a MIG weld. I mean, you can't not have a bead, I guess. So anyways, I've been messing with that. And then I burned the wire back to the tip and I thought, dang it, I got to turn this wire speed up a little bit. And then I looked in the old machine and it wasn't bird nested, but there's no wire left. So I guess I'm not doing any more welding tonight. All right, well in the end, I decided to just kind of stitch weld it. I watched a couple videos and some guys were saying to do it that way. I just think that it's a little less intrusive. I don't know. It's under the car, nobody's ever gonna see it. I did put a light in there and I could see through from this side, and I can see weld in there, so I know I'm getting a little bit of penetration. So let's see, what do we say? 6, so 5 more of these, and then we can put it back together. Apparently counting isn't my strong point. I thought I had 3, and it turns out there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is all the components from one side, minus the muffler that's laying under there, and then a few hangers, all welded and done. But if you look inside there, can you guys see inside there? You can see the weld, so we're getting good penetration with this little stitch weld method. Probably could look better, but it looks welded together. That's what we're going for. So I think I'll go ahead and take the other side apart, get done throwing the sparks, and then we'll see if it'll all go back together. Fingers crossed. Oh man, let me tell you, that was a struggle. I mean, I could not get the second side, which was of course the hard side, going by the gas tank. I had it all together, and then once I welded it, I had to mess with everything, and I couldn't get the tubes to turn because they were jammed in there, in the mufflers. It was a nightmare. It was, dare I say, it was a bit, I'm not going to say it. It was a bit frustrating. You thought I was going to say exhausting, didn't you? I'm not going to go there. Everybody else uses that joke. Anyways, I think I'm done-ish, other than done. I mean, I'm done, other than cleaning up and maybe checking everything out. But let's take a peek at what we got. So, there's my exhaust exits. Pretty close to the same on both sides. I'm not super stoked about the way the back hangers are. I tried doing it without a back hanger, and these were pretty solid, but they rattled around, and so I threw a hanger on here, and I want to make these temporary, like I say, so I can take them off to throw turn downs on. I could probably weld these on here, but anyways, for now I'm going with these clamps to at least see how it's going to go. So that one goes to the gas tank. That one's to a little battery box dealy bobber I made, but we sneak up through. I got it clamped together there. Oh, once I clamped that, now I'm touching the gas tank, dang it, with that clamp. So maybe I can just readjust that clamp and make that work. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to do something different back here. I wasn't touching anything before I put that on. We have, I think, enough room around the shocks and the axle. I jacked the rear end up to see how much travel. This thing has really stiff springs, so it's not gonna, you know, there's not a lot of travel up and down, I don't think. Here's one of the other hangers. I welded that bad boy on, and then there's another one of those on that side. We go up to the mufflers, and then you can see I got a couple more hangers up there, and those are bolted to a cross member and then welded to the exhaust pipes. Got the, sneak up here. Got the cutouts here, and I got the plates on, got them welded together there. So like I say, everything is done except for this huge mess I got to clean up. Pretty excited to start this thing up, but I'm going to look everything over, get all this stuff out from under the car. I haven't started the car in, it's been a few weeks. So I'm just going to look everything over, and I'll be back when we're ready to start her up and see how she sounds. All right, here's a moment of truth. See if this thing will start. I guess that's what she sounds like. Maybe a little quieter than I would have hoped. But we'll have to wait till we're driving it and see how it sounds out on the open road. I'm sure it'll be nice in the car, not have your head rattling and shaking from all the loud noise. So anyways, is what it is. Obviously, if it's too quiet, we got the cutouts. We can pop them bad boys off. Then it'll sound like open headers. Or we can try some different mufflers down the road sometime. I think I'm probably going to be just fine with the way it is. So this was quite a chore. Never done this before. I think I did a decent job. I guess we'll have to, like I say, have to drive it and make sure we're not rattling and you know, bumping in, make sure the exhaust isn't bumping into things, but I think it's in there pretty secured and going to be good to go. Let's, I guess being we're here talking about it, we will mark it off the list. Zing, zing, zing. You guys see exhaust on here? It's got to be on here somewhere. This is pretty riveting entertainment. We're all reading lists. You guys probably all found it by now. Exhaust system. Ka-ching. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, tell a friend, and next time maybe we'll be painting these door jambs.